to create stocking parts lists for the equipment that you carry. Um, why is this important? You may be asking. Um, when is it that you find out about a part? Is it when your dealer's calling you and telling you that I need this compressor that's failed? Or is it that you have some IOV on the shelf? You know, what, where are you with that? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go through the steps of how to create a recommended stocking list for parts for the equipment that you carry. So feel free to ask questions anytime. I'm in Solution Navigator. I've already logged in. And the way we're going to do that is either you can go to parts from the top and take it down to Smart Search UPG products, or you can go through applications, parts, and Smart Search UPG products. So this is the parts landing page. And hopefully you know that you can search parts list for any model or serial number under the JCI family. So it's not just limited to Champion brand, but definitely, most definitely Champion brand. So in this search box, that's where you will put your serial number if you were looking at parts. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a stocking parts list. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put in a model number. So I'm going to put in just a TM9E because I want to show you kind of, if I put in a partial, what our options are. And honestly, the options are endless. But what this does, when I put in a partial model, it gives us everything that's related to what I've typed in there. So everything obsolete, phase out, active. There's 2 pages of it. The way we're going to create a stocking list, though, is the suggested to stock over here. Everything in this line is that's highlighted is clickable. So I'm going to click into suggested to stock. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the option to choose everything, choose a few things, and then it also pops open this box at the bottom where all those models will go. The really cool thing about this is it works with any valid model number. So I'm just doing TM9Es for this example, but you can do full systems, a condenser and a furnace, air handler coil. You could do any combination you want. So I'm just going to click into a couple of these, and I'm going to click Add to Review, and that's going to add it to my box down here. Now, once we have what's in the box that we want, there's 3 different ways that we can run a parts list. Smart Search Data, this first option here, that's going to give you everything that Smart Search UPG products is going to give you. So for these 3 models, it's going to give us everything that the application itself would give you, but just for 3 models at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and run that and kind of show you what it looks like when it comes back. And also know that you can manually type in model numbers here. They're just separated by a comma, no space. And then you can also upload a list of model numbers so you can do them all at one time. So it's returned my Smart Search data, and I'm going to pop that open for you. And please give me a thumbs up if you can see that Excel document. Thank you. Okay, so what we have here is Smart Search data, and it is listed out almost exactly like it would be on the application with your model, your material, what the unit requires, the quantity, the description. The cool thing about this, there's lots of cool things about it, but you can sort either by part number, you can sort by product group, you can sort by anything. The other cool thing about this is this gives you everything that Smart Search UPG products gives you, but it also gives you this column here that designates whether the part is a suggested to stock part. So, like I mentioned, this gives you everything that Smart Search UPG products give you. It'll give you down to the gaskets, the sheet metal, the nuts, the bolts, everything. You can filter this by only those items that are considered recommended to stock items. So that's the first way. And another thing to note here, if your original bill of material is different from column B, that just means when they built the unit, it was most likely built with a different part number, but they are essentially the same part number. So if I'm looking at something that's different here, if the part number is different from L to B, and you have part L on your shelf, that will satisfy the need for the part listed in B. So I know that you're considering IOV. Maybe you don't want to carry a lot of things on the shelf, but if you have something that's just kind of hanging out, you might just check those things to see. And also, you can put in a part number into Smart Search UPG products and kind of check the status that way too. So this is Smart Search data. Are there any questions on that? I know I went through that pretty fast.
Would you show us how to run that again really quick, Robin? Just one more time.
I would love to. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the way I got to this application, I'll start from the beginning. Parts, either from the top or through applications, Smart Search UPG products, just like if you were going to look up parts for a single unit. This is actually going to let us have a parts list for several units at one time. So in the search box, it remembers what I wanted. So TM9E is the example that I was using. I just put in a partial because I want to show you kind of the capability here. Here's everything that comes up. But I create a suggested to stock list. I want to create a parts list for several units at one time. Suggested to stock. And then from here, you can click all. You can click different things. You can add in, I'm going to add to review to pop those into the box down below. You can add in additional models here. You can upload things. You can manually put them in. And then that first thing that I ran was Smart Search data. And that was this. From here, you can save this, print this, helpful to use. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to actually select them all. I'm going to add to review, and that's going to add everything in that box. And again, you can add additional models to this. You can upload a bunch of different things at one time. Sky's the limit, really. So we're going to take by model this time. And each way you run it kind of condenses the list down. And the cool thing about by model is this is only going to give us those suggested to stock parts. So it's not going to be the gaskets. It's not going to be the nuts and bolts and all the extra pieces. It's just going to be those critical parts that you would want to know. So let me get this pulled up here. And you can see we don't have as many columns right away. But everything in this list is considered a recommended to stock part. So again, you're not going to have the nuts and bolts and those extra parts there. This lists by model, the material, the quantity that the unit recommends, how many, and then of course the same information as before. Again, you can sort this by product group, you can sort it by material, you could sort it by model. There's just the recommended to stock parts for that model. Popping it back open. And let me I'm going to a different. Okay, you can see here this flame sensor. All of these units use that same part number, the flame sensor. So this is really helpful to see, for motors, compressors, coils, things that are in really high demand. It's really good to see what units kind of use what parts, so you can be in the know before your customer gets to the counter, and you can know kind of what's in high demand or what's a recommended to stock part. So that's by model. Any questions on that one? Okay, let's go by material. That is the last way to run these. I'm going to leave my list in the box because I want to show you what by material looks like for all of these different furnaces. And of course, the more models you have in the box, the little longer that the list may take to populate. So be patient. So now we have by material available. And this is going to condense our list down even more. So now what it does is it gives us the material. It gives us how many pieces are needed for how many models take that part. So 10 models take this furnace switch, and you're going to need 10 pieces for those 10 models. Any questions on that one? Dave, I think you're a big fan of this one. So why would we use these parts lists? Why are they important to your business? They're very helpful at the counter. If you only sell a couple different kinds of units, you can have those parts lists printed out, ready to go. Your counter people can quickly reference, what's needed. The recommended to stock parts, you can know, ahead of time, like I mentioned, what those parts are, what they're going to be. This application is updated constantly, so it's very uncommon to find something that's completely obsolete. But if you do find something that is obsolete, you can call into Source One customer service, and they kind of have some extra tools that they can look and see if there is actually a supersede or if your part is obsolete. And I'm going to put their phone number here in the chat. So that's Source One's customer service in case you run across a part that isn't showing stock or looks to be obsolete or something just isn't right about it. Please feel free to call in and ask questions. So what else can I show you? Are there any requests? Do you have a couple units that you're wondering what it might look like? Or can I go through one of the ways again?
Robin, is there a way, so say a local company has a part on their shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you show us if they have that part number where they could put it in to see what it goes with?
Yes. Great question. So I've got this motor, and there we go.
I'm thinking about for this would be great for if like you have a motor that's about to go on to IOV or something along those lines. And
Yes. So let's say I have this motor sitting on the shelf. Not really sure what it was for, but it's on the shelf and I'd like to know what I could do with it. What are the possibilities? Everything in this line, once it comes up, that's blue is hyperlinked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this where used. And what that's going to do is that's going to tell me all the places that takes this motor. So it's going to say, you know, it's probably used in a lot of places. It's going to take a little while. So we're going to say, okay, in this example, it's only used in one. So here it is. One unit uses that motor. So let's look at something else. This is especially helpful if you have a part on your shelf, you're not quite sure what it went to. If you run the where used and you have somebody that might need that part, you have it available. Okay, we're going to try this housing. Okay, there we go. So this, and it's going to give you all of the sister brand um, models too. So just kind of be aware of that. But this is going to give you every model that takes that blower housing. Up here in the right hand, you can export this to Excel. And if you find that somebody has one of these models on hand, or maybe you know somebody that sold one, maybe this blower housing is something that they would like to have on hand as a stock part. Any questions on that? Okay. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you next. I can get to the right one here. Let's take a look at a part number that maybe isn't active, but is actually obsolete. So I just put part number in the search box there. This status is really only important when you're looking at parts. If you're putting in models or serial numbers and it comes up obsolete, just kind of disregard that because 99.9% of the time, there's a parts list available for the unit, no matter the status. But since we're looking at parts, the status is important. So this tells me it's obsolete. Um, a normal standard way would be go to the supersedes, but this is in bright red text that the comments is actually giving us what to do about that obsolete item. So it's telling us that depending upon the model is the replacement. And that's why the supersedes is not available because that supersedes field only has room for one part. And since this is really dependent upon the model that's being used, they actually put the replacement or supersede into the comments. So if you don't see or if you don't see supersedes lit up, um, you know, definitely take a look at the comments because alternatives, suggestions, replacements, they might be in the comments instead. So I'm going to look up another one to see if we can. And like I said, they update this all the time. So there's very few obsolete parts, which is excellent. Let me see. That's not going to give me anything. It's not going to give me. Okay. Do this. So I'm just pulling up a TM9E. I'm going to take a look at the first model in the list. And what I'm looking for is an obsolete part to show you kind of the supersedes. And you can see here the supersedes is lit up, but again, we're looking at a model, not a part. So we want to go to that parts list. So I'm just going to go to this control, and that's not going to give me what I want. Let me go back. Here's the heat exchanger. Okay, perfect. So this is an example. It is active, but if it were obsolete, and we still can on this active part, go to supersedes. And believe me, this is a great opportunity to get into Solution Navigator and click around. You will break nothing, I promise. When you click the supersedes, whether in this example, the part is active or if the part is obsolete, what it's going to give you kind of is a hierarchy of parts associated with that part. So if you have this obsolete heat exchanger sitting on your shelf, it's the same as this active part number. So that's why it's important if you have parts sitting on your shelf and you're not quite sure, what they are, pop them into Smart Search UPG products and see maybe the hierarchy. Maybe you ordered that active part for a warranty when you had the obsolete one on your shelf. So kind of keep that in mind. And if you ever, if you have a whole bunch of things on your shelf and you're not quite sure, please feel free to reach out. We can take a look, and see where are these things used. Can we find a home for them, or is it something that you can use now? Any questions on that? Any questions on that? Great question, Spencer. He asked, what if there's an issue with the obsolete item and the supersede one is from another manufacturer? That's going to be kind of the alternate or suggested or recommended part. It may not be a direct supersede. If that is the case, it will be in the comments and not in that supersedes, not in this supersedes hierarchy. If it's not an exact supersede, it won't be in that supersede. And there are times where you have a part and it is absolutely obsolete. I gave you the phone number for customer service. Sometimes they'll look through all their resources and, hey, that heat exchanger, it is absolutely obsolete. So if you're trying to fulfill a warranty, refer back to our office hours that we had previously, where we talked about placing parts for warranty orders. There's a whole process, a bunch of steps to take to satisfy those warranties. If you have any questions on that, let us know. But we just have a few minutes left. If there's any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself, throw things in the chat. If I can go through another process again. It's another thing to be well, to know really well this supersedes kind of this application, because oftentimes with coils, they'll kind of flip flop between part numbers. They'll use one part number and then go back to another one and then go back to another one. So it's helpful to know that this feature is here to kind of check those supersedes in there. That way, if they're, when they're flip flopping parts like that, you know where to go.
These lists are really good, reference materials, guys, for people at the counter or inside salespeople or account reps. where they can find a part right away. I mean, I like using these. I can find a part that fits multiple pieces of equipment. So
Yep.
when someone needs a part, you know, we know they only have to stock X amount of these for all these other products. So keep that in mind.
Yes. And really, we want to empower you, to use these applications to their fullest potential, to help your business. So you're not sideline, you're not bombarded at the counter. What's this part? You can kind of be ahead of the game and know kind of what to expect. And another thing with the uh, stock parts list, Source One comes out with a kind of a critical parts list for the heating season and then another one for the cooling season. And those actually, when they're ordered expedited, so not warranty, but expedited, first, second, third day air, Saturday air, they actually have a $75 fee that goes on top of the freight when they're ordered during those seasons. So this is another good feature to run and know and kind of be, kind of know what parts are critical at what times. So in the case that you have a homeowner that needs something expedited, maybe you already have it available. You have it available when they need it. If there aren't any other questions, we only have a couple minutes left, but I want to thank you. I know this is kind of a bonus session and it's during lunch and it's hot, but I want to thank you for joining us. Please feel free to reach out anytime. This session is being recorded. Let us know if you need anything at all. If you have any recommendations on any future sessions, we would love to hear those as well. Well, thank you and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Robin.
Robin.